Alright guys, so we're at a truck today. It's a Peterbilt 379 and it's got a Cat C15 twin turbo A-cert engine. The serial number is it's an SDP engine. Not one of the, definitely probably the least wanted engine or sought after. But it's had an overhaul last year. I don't know who did it. I never did it. I'm assuming just an in-frame, because it didn't look like they touched anything else, like the coolers. It's got a pretty significant oil leak. Engine oil leak I'm going to be after today. It's the filter base housing up top, and it's kind of underneath this cooler in behind. So I'm hoping we don't have to pull the cooler off and that I can just drop the filter, take the bolts out where they mount to the block, and fish that, or kind of slide it out of there without pulling the cooler off. There's quite a bit of rusty bolts and stuff that I don't want to get into on the cooler, but yeah, so I'll see if, pull that filter down and see if I can sneak that out. And it's got an O-ring on one of the pipes that slide up in the housing, and it's just steady leaking oil when a truck is running. So yeah, let's see what we can do. Well, I began removing some bolts, and from that oil filter base, I don't see how that filter base is going to come out without pulling that EGR cooler out. So I just thought I'd look on SIS quick, see what SIS says. And engine oil filter base remove. First step, remove EGR cooler. That's going to open a can of worms of parts, because there's a lot of rotten pieces on the elbow, and I could just see it if we start reusing things. We're going to have boost leaks or coolant leaks after. So I got to talk to the customer and let them know that we're probably going to be opening a can of worms here to do this job, and make sure he still wants me to pull it apart outside. Because alright, so I'm going to remove this. I'm going to pull this EGR cooler out. There's no way that base is going to sneak behind, so this unfortunately is going to open a can of worms. I'm going to have to pull this off, this piece here, and everything's just rotten. So I'm going to pull it all apart. I don't think this is going to be reusable, that's for sure. There's another line here that's pretty rotten. It wraps around the bottom, and even the coolant tube that can't really see. So this tube here is not looking the best. It's weeping coolant. I don't know if it's coming from those clamps and that hose or what, but yeah. Definitely opening a can of worms. It's just the way trucks go. I feel like, well, all heavy equipment, but trucks get a lot of rust, a lot of rot, and this engine was just overhauled not even a year ago, and you can tell all this stuff got reused, and might be time to replace it now. Alright, so I got everything off the EGR cooler to get it out, but typical truck, never enough room to slide things out. There's a stud here, and can't pull the EGR cooler off enough to slide it down because it hits the frame. And I really didn't want to take all these straps off, but I guess I'm going to. I know they're going to break, so I guess just add it to the parts list. More stuff. I feel like trucks always go this way. Well, this base, filter base assembly does not want to budge. I've tapped on it all around. I've triple checked that I have all my bolts out, and I do. And it's just seized in these pipes. I think that's where it would be seized. It looks like it. I've beat on it. I don't know how much more I can really beat on it before things start breaking. Well, I got it to move a little bit, and yeah, as I suspected, the fight continues. This, it shouldn't look like this. It should have a little, there's a tube that slides in between, and it's broke. So that means the rest is broke inside the oil cooler. This side I haven't got out yet. It's still fighting me. But I imagine it's not going to be any better. Trucks, man. Well, got it out. This broken piece is not going to be fun. It is stuck in that housing. And this side, the tube stayed in the oil cooler side. So that's stuck in the oil cooler, which is mounted to the block. And that other one is broken inside. So I'm not really sure how I'm going to get this one out yet. I really did think when I was coming here that I'd just be unbolting the oil cooler, fish it out, put new seals in, stick it back up, and I thought I'd be done in 4 or 5 hours. Nuh-uh, not today. But this is how it goes. You never really know how it's going to go until you get in it. So I guess I'm going to try and fish out that broken piece. It's probably not going to work in my favor, but we're going to try, and hopefully don't have to pull this engine oil cooler off. Alright, so this is what the tube actually looks like. This one was stuck in over here. I managed to get it out. So the piece that's broke is, it broke off right here. So we still got this part still stuck in the oil cooler. And I've been at it for a bit trying to get it, and no luck. What I'm gonna try is get this, I just sharpened up this punch, and I'm gonna try and get on the back side of it here and try and crush it in toward the center. If I can do that on a couple sides, maybe then I'll have a chance at grabbing it, pulling it out. I'm not sure. Alright, so I've got it kind of started in there. There's just no room. It's in between the frame rail. And yeah, it started on the edge. Hopefully this works. Well, 3 broken drill bits later. So I decided, I took a drill bit and I drilled up through the side here, drilled all the way to the end, and then I was able to jam my punches in the sides and collapse it in towards itself. And then with enough prying, there's a broken piece of my pry bar there. with enough prying I was able to get it out somehow. Gosh, well, that saves a lot of time. I spent about an hour doing that, 3 drill bits, and a broken crow's or heel bar, unfortunately. But I think if I had to have this oil cooler off, there's pipes in here that would need replaced. This whole hard head exhaust, nothing would come undone here. This pipe comes down all the way, joins down here. So yeah, enough screwing around with this. Somehow got it out, but we still got to get the other piece out of the oil cooler, but at least it's not upside down with a frame rail in between an engine. I've got it on my workbench on my truck, so let's go get that piece out. Well, I guess I don't have to fight with the oil filter base anymore, because that piece, I kind of suspected this was going to happen. I'm actually surprised this didn't happen to the engine oil cooler. Those tubes are seized in there. I was trying to be careful with it, but you know, what can you do? It's this is what came out of the engine oil cooler. That one was actually fighting me a lot harder, and it's out of the truck, so I guess we'll have to get a filter base. Kind of glad anyway, because all those pieces I've been trying to chip away at have made their way down into the base, and I would have tried my best to clean it, but putting a new base is good assurance that there's going to be no pieces go into the filter or into the housing, make its way out, and you know, wreck something. So yeah, I guess we're gonna get a big parts list made up, because there's a lot of broken parts in the midst of taking this apart. Well, here's a list of broken parts. Have you ever had to punch a clamp in half with a sharp punch? Because I have. Tube broken. All these clamps broke around the EGR. Hose, filter base, exhaust bellows cracked. And this horn is pretty rotten, but we'll see if he wants to reuse that or replace it. It's important that those exhaust bellows, like no exhaust leaks on these twin C15s, because they won't regen properly if they have any exhaust leaks, boost leaks. These things run really high boost pressure, like 60-70 psi, so everything pretty well has to be perfect. And I'm not putting it together with you know, broken bellows, exhaust leaks, and there's also some rotten pipes here as well, coolant tubes. I don't know why this stuff was never replaced when they did an in-frame, but look at this tube here. That is just rotten, and that comes up, I think, to the EGR valve, and then this little line here, it goes to the filter base assembly, and it's just as rotten. So definitely going to put those on the order list. And yeah, what can I say? This job just went from $500 to in parts to probably $3-4 grand by the time we get all of our parts, I bet. Joys of owning a truck, I guess. Alright, it's the end of the day, and I got a list of parts made up. Took probably an hour just to make a parts list, and it's Saturday today, so I'll call Monday, get the parts ordered, and get back as soon as I can, as soon as all the parts are in. I imagine everything, Toromont will have most stuff in stock, so yeah. That was a job that, coming here, I thought it would take 4 or 5 hours. No, not today. That's the way it goes. You just never know what you're going to get into until you start tearing it apart and things start fighting you. So, yeah. I guess I'll, after this clip will be when I get back. Alright, we're back at this C15. So, we've got a whole bunch of parts here for it. Base housing, oil filter base, clamps, bunch of O-rings, seals. The only thing we are missing is one of the exhaust pieces from this aftercooler that connects here. It's on back order, so we're gonna have to clean it up best we can, and we're gonna reuse it. We'll check for boost leaks after everything's together. But yeah, we're gonna start replacing everything I ordered and get this base on and get it together. So yeah, this truck it's a 2008. So it's been a while. Everything, 2007 is when they had DPFs installed, and so it's been a long time for this truck. So we're gonna get yeah, here's one of the tubes here, and the other one's just sitting there. It goes to the oil filter base. So yeah, we're gonna get all the parts swapped over on the filter base. This fitting here, that's turbo drain, and this fitting here, there's one that goes in here, and of course, well, this one here, that's the steel tube connects, and this is why we're putting the base on. Alright, so we got the base installed, bolts are torqued. I torqued them to 36 foot-pounds. That's what it calls for a 3/8 coarse thread bolt. SIS did not provide any torque specs for those bolts. Everything else except those bolts. So now we're going to mount the EGR cooler bracket, get it bolted in, and then continue on in the rain. The saga continues. I ordered a hose for one of the coolant pipes that come from the bottom of the water pump, and Toromont only sells them when you order the hose. They have to cut it, I guess. They never gave me the option to buy it as a complete, a length. And check out this quality cut from somebody. This is what they sent. So not only that, but look at the big gash inside. In here. Like, really? That's what they send. So I usually replace them out of good measure, but I think I'm going to trust the old one. I don't think it was leaking. I just replaced them when I'm into the job. So we'll put new clamps on. I got new clamps regardless, and I think we'll reuse the old one. I don't really trust that. Pretty poor quality. And yeah, so let's keep going. Okay, everything is is done. I got the EGR on, the clamps worked out great, and all the tubes, filters on, filters pre-filled with oil. The only problem is this piece did come in at CAT today, so I think I'm gonna wait before I start it and go get the new elbow. It's got a lot of rust on the edges, and I'm worried about, really I'm worried about putting that on and having a flake chip off and go into a turbo and you know, wreck a compressor wheel. It's just not worth it. So we're gonna wait. He doesn't, it's rain today, so he doesn't need the truck tomorrow. And yeah, we'll go get the part, return tomorrow night, because I got a job during the day, and we'll get it done tomorrow night. Alright, we got the piece we were waiting for. I decided to replace it just because the other one's rotten and crusty. I was worried about something falling in. Trying to put the clamps on, I was worried about a piece falling in and getting sucked in the turbos. Should just be, you know, 2 minutes to put this piece in. I don't think so. This clamp does not move enough because the turbo drain right there is up against it, and the bellows won't slide underneath the clamp. And I would have no way of getting these turbo drain bolts back in underneath without taking more parts off. I did not think I would be fighting this pipe. Probably more out of anything else that I've put together on this truck. Just doesn't stop fighting. Well, somehow I got those clamps on in there under the turbo. And lo and behold, I fought with this elbow more than I did those clamps to get this clamp on, believe it or not. And the batteries are dead. Imagine that. If it fight this far, why would it stop fighting? Well, I had a booster, charger, truck cables from my truck trying to boost this thing, and this thing would not crank over fast enough. So, get 4 new batteries. Fights back. I honestly thought I was going to be done this truck, and it leaks just as fast as it did before with the new cooler or oil filter base. it's going to need a new engine oil cooler. Why? I'm not sure. I looked up inside. I didn't see, any cracks, any reason why it wouldn't seal up. I'm going to be taking this all apart on my dime and making it right. Alright, it's currently the morning after discovering that this truck wants to still fight me. It's kicking my ass because now it was in my dreams last night, so that's how you know when they get to you, is when you dream about it. I've got some parts on order and we're gonna redo basically, or take apart everything I put together and hopefully just replace the cover on the engine oil cooler. The cover is attached to these tubes here that come down, and that is where the leak is happening, right here. So yeah, I'm gonna get it apart and hopefully have this thing pretty well near close to being done by the end of the day. Hopefully, we'll see. I don't know. This thing, it just keeps fighting back, so we never know how it's gonna go at this point. But yeah. Alright, so this truck sure is coming apart a lot easier now for the second time. I got the cooler out, and here's the spot it's leaking. This is the same spot as before, coming off the oil cooler. This side is dry over here, but I already suspect what I did wrong. I think what happened when that piece was seized up in the top of the cooler, I pried at it, I was picking at it, and that thing was not moving. Like, that was just stuck solid in that cooler. I ended up drilling a hole through the pipe that was stuck in there, and I wonder if my drill bit grabbed the edge of the cooler and just made a nice line straight up the side, and the oil is escaping around the O-ring down the line of the cooler. So we'll see when we get it all apart, see what it looks like, and we've got parts coming, so hopefully I can get this back together today or tomorrow. But yeah, let's get the rest off and see, because I'm curious. Alright, so we got the cooler cover off. This is the piece that was stuck inside, down inside at the bottom. And that is exactly what happened. When I drilled that piece, part of my drill bit caught side of the housing. If it'll focus. And it must have just been escaping past the O-ring. I think. I would imagine that would cause it. So we're getting a new housing, or cover, to go on the housing gasket. We're going to put it back together and see what happens. Alright, so we got the cover here for the on the cooler. Everything looks right, except we got a plug here, almost like a freeze plug, and we're missing a plug here. There's nothing. And SIS does not list any freeze plugs, not that I have ever known. And I had a look, I couldn't find nothing, so that's more of a reman issue. This is a reman housing. And not much choice but to go with a reman housing. I thought I'd be able to get it done today. But I guess, I don't know. I might be able, I called Cat, the parts, to see if we could even get how you'd get a plug, if I can install that cover and put as much as I can on and then install the plug myself, or if they're going to take that cover back and exchange it with another one if they have one. I don't know. I'd hate to put that cover on and them tell me I need to take it down to them. So I think that puts a halt on today because they're closed, nobody's answering, and there's not much I can do about it. Alright, well, back here today, got the new cooler, engine oil cooler mounted. It's in these new pipes here. There, base is in, filter base. Just about to mount the EGR cooler. It's a much nicer day today, so hopefully I get this truck back together. I was out here Saturday but got burned on parts, so got the freeze plug put in, and I went and picked that up this morning, and here putting it together. So hopefully by the end of the day we got a running truck with no leaks. Well, everything is back together, and yeah, everything, all the pipes, exhaust, all the clamps, oil, filters pre-filled, coolant. Let's fire it up. If it doesn't immediately piss oil out, we're probably all right. Well, the truck's been running for about 10 minutes. You wouldn't believe it. Still got problems, but not with what we had before. Check this out on the cover. So frustrated. Who's gonna pay for me to disassemble all this again and replace that cover? I knew those freeze plugs were gonna leak when I looked at them. I just freaking knew it. Guess I'm gonna call Cat and see if they're gonna come through. Well, this oil leak hasn't gotten any better on these plugs. The truck's been running for 40 minutes or so, and they just steady drip out those plugs. I've never even seen what looks like freeze plugs on a oil gallery, on a cooler anyway. I guess I've seen one on a 3406 block on a scraper once. But what do you guys think? Should Tormont be like reman? This is a reman issue. It's a reman part. You can't get new. They're just not making it for these trucks anymore. I was told anyway, and Reman it was, so that's a defect there. And you know, you got 10 hours to put it together, take it apart and put it together. So you know, I'm gonna fight Toromont on this one because it's not right. It shouldn't leak. It's not leaking majorly, but heck, I just spent a pile of money. That cover was $2,000, so from Reman, shouldn't leak. So let me know what you think. I guess this video is going to continue of this truck kicking my ass, and we'll get to the bottom of it somehow. But for now, they're going to take the truck and use it because it's not leaking majorly. They have to. They've already started combining out there, and they need the truck. So I might end the video here, and because I think that's enough arse kicking for me. But I'll let you guys know what Toromont ends up doing, and I'll find out tomorrow morning. So thanks for watching, and like and subscribe if this is the end of the video, and see you on the next ones. Okay, I'm going to make this the end of the video for the Peterbilt. I haven't, so since I put the truck together, and where were we last? Putting the truck together, it was running, and it was leaking oil out the cover, that brand new cover I installed. And I was quite frustrated with it. I ended up emailing Toromont, Cat. I actually never heard back from them. Usually they're pretty quick on their emails. I hadn't heard from them for a day. I tried calling, just got voicemail. So I drove down there 2 days after to figure out what we're gonna do about it. Are they gonna replace the cover? Are they gonna, what's going on? The plugs on the truck, the one that I had installed was installed with like bearing compound, like a green, it's almost like a green, they just call it bearing compound. I've put that on any freeze plugs that I've installed, very few. I've only installed one really before. And yeah, it leaked as well. I could tell the side that Toromont, that cover, that freeze plug, that was already installed, it didn't have any. So anyway, went down to Cat and dealt with the parts lady. They were good about it. They weren't running away. And we ended up looking up that cover part number and ended up finding a DSN about it, which is, it's not a service letter, but it's basically somebody's run into the same problem and couldn't solve it. They put a cover on an SDP Cat engine, same one, it's the exact same cover part number, and it kept leaking out those freeze plugs. It just, no matter what they did, they replaced it with 2 different covers, I think. They pulled the plugs out, they resealed with different kind of like sealants, bearing compound, like a flange sealant, and they'd start leaking within a couple kilometers of driving, and just a steady weep. So what a DSN is basically somebody reaching out to like a TC, a Caterpillar TC, which is a technical communicator. And when you involve a TC, they're going to reach out, come up with a solution. And the only solution for that cover fix was to pull it off and machine it, tap it, and put a pipe thread in rather than a freeze plug. So that was their resolving that issue. So Toromont, because that DSN is out there and they're still selling that cover, they're basically going to take the truck in their truck shop and they're going to do the whole repair and not charge, I'm not paying anything for it. My customer's not paying anything for it. My customer still got to pay me for the work I've done, but Toromont's going to take the truck in and pull that cover back off, and they're going to do the thread tapping and installing pipe plug, and go from there. So there won't be any charge. So customer was in the end, I think he was pretty happy. He still got to use his truck to finish up corn harvest, so it wasn't leaking majorly. It was just a little bit. But the main thing was he was able to finish up harvest, get all of his corn off and trucked. So this will basically be the end of this video. Sometimes repairs don't always go the way you want, the way you plan. Especially working on older trucks, older equipment, you really don't know what you're getting into. Sometimes, yeah, it just happens being a mechanic. You kind of have to accept it. So anyway, thanks for watching. I appreciate you checking in and watching another video. And like and subscribe if you haven't already. I always look forward to the comments and looking to make more videos for you guys. Thanks for watching.